Hello and welcome to another video with me, Mr. Man Bun Ponytail, reading love letters from, this time it's Bring On The Hate number 2, the Marshall Code edition. Yes, these are all comments that I've gotten for doing 3 Marshall Code videos, not 1. So I had the Marshall Code 50. I did one video, I didn't like it. I got a lot of feedback, most of it positive or at least constructively critical, but then some stuff just being and I took that criticism on board and did a second video. I still didn't like the amp, and then I did a third video, and I just kept getting abuse from some people. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna read through some of those love letters, and if you don't like swearing, then this video probably isn't for you, because I will probably be swearing when I respond to these comments. Okay, so let's start. We have Chris Davies. You should have demoed. Actually, let me do these in accents again. You should have demoed the Code 100 combo 2x12. That comes with an effects loop and a speaker out. You need to tweak the amp to get your preferred sound. Too many people couldn't be arsed to roll up their sleeves and get stuck in and adjust the settings. It isn't rocket science. Especially if you connect via Bluetooth using the free downloadable app. And he goes on. I love my Code 100 combo, especially with the Android app, and you can save another 100 presets to your handheld device. Oh yes, and yes, I also have a Blackstar HT Stage 100 valve amp as well. I still love my Code 100 combo. When you can't be bothered to even try to adjust the settings, you don't give a fair demonstration. Listen to this guy using the code blah blah blah. Okay, well, you should have demoed the Code 100 combo. Well, here's the thing, I didn't. I demoed the Code 50 because that's what was available. That's what was available, and why do I have to demo this when there's that? I mean, you should have demoed that thing instead of this thing because that thing is a different thing from... I was demoing this thing. You stupid twat. It comes with an effects loop and a speaker out. Yes, so you need to tweak the amp. Well, in my experience, actually, good amps, you don't really have to tweak. You can tell fairly quickly if they're good or not. Goes for modeling amps, solid state amps, hybrid amps, and valve amps. If you need to really start tweaking stuff, there's something off. Sorry, Chris, to get your preferred sound. Too many people couldn't be arsed to roll up their sleeves. I did 3 videos! Get stuck in and adjust the settings. This was, I don't remember which one of the code videos this was on, but he said, we put this exact, I think it was this exact comment in at least 2 of the videos. I did 3. I could be arsed to do something. Okay, and you can save another 100 presets to your handheld device. Well, first of all, I think I know what your handheld device is. 100 presets, well, whoop the fucking do. God damn it, now you've sold me the code. I need to get myself another code because 100 presets? I didn't know that. Unless they're all shit, which they are, so yeah. You can save like, I don't know how many thousand you can save on a Fractal Audio Axe effects. Get the old one. It's tons better and not that much more expensive actually these days than a Code 50. So, there's number 1. Ruben Frisk aus Deutschland. Auf Deutschland, I don't know. How can you say that the Marshall Code 50 is bad? I have that amp and it is very good. Yeah, sorry, I didn't know you had that. If I'd known, you had that, then I would have said it was very good. And then we have Ulisse Nidran. I do not know where he is from. I think you have a small dick in the brain. If you are a little clever, you would know that this amp is for beginners and that its price is 250 euros. When you can get for the home at small, what you can get for home at small or medium volume, a sound that allows you to learn and progress. In its category, this amp is neither better nor worse than another. But you are too stupid to understand that unless you intend to show bullshit and contempt on your YouTube channel. Well, I definitely intend to show contempt on my YouTube channel for your comment. Now, for argument's sake, let's say I do have a small dick in the brain. That's still more than you have, either up here or down here. Because I'm just commenting from the anonymity of some, what's it called? Some nickname on YouTube. Fuck you. Seriously. If you were a little clever, you would know that this amp is for beginners and that its price is 250 euros. Well, I actually bought it, so I do know what it costs. And it's a 50 watt amp. It can be used by beginners, but it can also be used by other people. And I've had loads of people who were not beginners saying that it's a brilliant amp. And I've had loads of people who were not beginners saying that it's not a brilliant amp. So it's a modeling amp which caters to basically all sorts of people. And at that price, it's very affordable, so it can cater to beginners, it can cater to people on a tight budget and all sorts of people. And I am clever enough to know this, because my small dick in the brain can actually think. Yeah, but you are too stupid to understand that. Yes, I are stupid. I are smart, LOL. Yes, so I show nothing but contempt for your vacuous and totally useless comment. Rob Butler Guitar says, "Is he stoned? The presets are not good. You have to tweak basic sounds to make them sound good." What can I say? I basically thought the amp was stoned when I played it. I don't know what all this ranting about you have to tweak the presets is. Any old decent gear that comes with presets, the presets give you an idea of what that gear is like. Okay, granted, sometimes you have to tweak stuff, but you get the general idea. And the general idea with the code was, fuck no. Okay, so, 1 sol. So, receding hairline, bearded ponytail dude is giving tone advice. He probably still rocks a 2001 Nokia cell phone because an iPhone has too much everything. If you own this amp, you'd know his setting was effed up. You cannot emulate a cabinet sound with this single speaker amp. If he'd simply selected a single speaker setting, he'd have gotten the tone he wanted. I have the 100H that I play through a vintage Celestine 4x12 cab, and it's effing gnarly. It blows the walls off every bar gig she plays. Don't take this wanker's word. There's a Scandinavian dude who dialed in the plexitone on his code 50. Search YT for it. Okay, a few things here. 1 sol. First off, clearly not a beginner because he's blowing down the walls of every bar gig he plays with that amp. So receding hairline, bearded ponytail dude is giving tone advice. So wanker who probably has nothing on his channel is trying to give tone advice. Who's hiding behind a YouTube nickname? Again, no. He probably still rocks a 2001 Nokia cell phone because an iPhone has too much everything. Don't actually. So sorry, wrong again, asshole. If you own this amp, you'd know his setting was effed up. I own this amp, or I did own this amp. The amp was effed up. You cannot emulate a cabinet sound with this single speaker amp. If I remember correctly, and he's referencing Johan Segerborn here first off, he's wrong. Johan Segerborn was trying the 25 watt code, not the 50. And if I remember correctly, he dialed in a 2x12 cab for that thing, which was, as I think he said, it was counterintuitive or something to that effect. So yeah, you can. You can dial in all sorts of stuff with all sorts of different stuff in the settings. Johan Segerborn is cool. If he'd simply selected a single speaker setting, he'd have gotten the tone he wanted. I wouldn't. I tried them. They sucked because I rolled up my sleeves, because I could actually be arsed to do that, unlike what Chris Davies thought. Don't take this wanker's word. Yes, that's right. Don't take this wanker's word. Take that wanker's word. Go buy a code 50, and you can let me know in the comments of any of my videos how that worked out for you. And by the way, he's referencing the Johan Segerborn video here, and I did, the third video was me doing the Johan Segerborn setting on the code. And even Johan Segerborn himself said that he had to dial back the tone on his, I think it was an SG, I'm not sure, a Gibson of some sort. He had to dial back the tone because it was so shrill that you just couldn't live with it. So, sounding exactly like a plexi. I actually A-B'd it with a plexi, which Johan didn't do in that video, because Johan knows that if he'd actually A-B'd it with a plexi, the code would have been fucking destroyed. Yeah, simple as that. But Johan's video was entitled Getting the Code to Sound Exactly Like a Plexi, something along those lines. Fair play to Johan, he got it sounding surprisingly good, but again, that was with the tone dialed down on the guitar because it was so shrill. Yeah, so search YT for the Johan Segerborn video, and then you can check out my video. And if you hate my video, you can let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to feature you in one of these videos. And before I go on, criticism is fine, but there's criticism and then there's, well, this kind of stuff. Cosmic ordering. So much a hype about this amp is no good, complete BS. 1. For a practice amp is best for its money. That's what my 35 years of playing guitar experience tells me. Even though the 100 watt 2x12 is even better, which can also take an external speaker. 2. You cannot compare 50 watts of this kind with 50 watts of tube power. Compare it to 5 watts of tube power to have an equivalent. 3. The plexi plugged dry into a single no-name speaker and played in a low volume, i.e. 1, would sound 2 times worse than shit than this amp does. 4. Learn to set up sounds with an amp like this first before you express a review opinion. Well, let's work our way backwards with cosmic ordering, because that's cosmic ordering for you. Review opinion. Any review opinion is always subjective, so it's always a review opinion. If I don't like something, I'm just gonna say it. And if you get upset that I don't like a piece of gear, then what the fuck's wrong with you? Learn to set up sounds with an amp like this first. Well, I've done tons of these, so yeah, you can look those up. 3. The plexi plugged dry into a single no-name speaker and played in low volume will sound 2 times worse than shit than this amp does. Yes, good spelling there. First off, I can play that thing at bedroom volume and it'll sound absolutely brilliant. So I don't actually have to compare it to I can compare it to a code. That's what I was about to say. And you can take a Harley Benton Tube 5, which is a 5 watt valve or tube combo with a shoddy speaker. You can play that and compare it to the Code 50, and the Code 50 will absolutely and totally lose. And it's €100 more expensive than the Tube 5. So, Mr. Cosmic Ordering, or misses, I don't know. 2, you cannot compare 50 watts of this kind with 50 watts of tube power. Yeah, well, I just went through that. 1, for a practice amp is best for its money, except that it's not, because it's more expensive than the Tube 5. It's about as expensive as a Katana. It's about as expensive as the Spark amp, which is absolutely so much better. If you need a combination of gigging amp and kind of home practice amp, then the Code 50 is actually an option because it has 50 watts of power, so you could actually maybe gig with it. But at the same price, you can get a Harley Benton Tube 15, which is 15 watts of valve power, and costs the same amount, actually it's a tenner less, and you can connect it to a cab. And it sounds so good, it's insane. Granted, it does only basically 1 or 2 things, whereas the Code does a million things, and you can save 100 presets! And yeah, but it does, the Tube 15 does what it does really well, whereas the Marshall Code does them really poorly. Yeah, so, next one, Andy Kirkwood.
Thanks for giving it a second chance. I'm trying to do the same, give your review a second chance, but can only waste 6.5 minutes to see that. Still, not a fair review. Your face when you tried the Plexi preamp looked promising. I thought you understood, but then when you tried to improve it with your Fender YGM Fury pedal, tells me you haven't got a clue. Talk about vested interests all you like. You can't seriously complain at the Code's price level. I would advise anybody before you buy the amp, get the app and at least try to understand what is going on. Presets are generalized sounds covering everything from ultra clean verby delayed stuff to full fat gain stuff, a lot of capability. You obviously like your Plexi stack and your Fury pedal, so good luck with those 2 sounds. At least you can use your pedal to get a lead sound. And how much was that pedal?
I don't know how much that pedal was. 60, 70, 80 euros? Again, I will go back to what I just said about the Tube 5 and Tube 15. You can do a million gazillion things with the Code, and that's often a problem with modeling amps. They do everything under the sun and they do the things that they do really poorly. Whereas when you get something like the Tube 15 or Tube 5, they do 1 or 2 things and they do them really well. You don't have to get a tube amp or a valve amp for a good sound. You can get a modeling something or other. You can get the Spark amp, which has its faults, but it's infinitely better than the Code. It has smaller speakers, but the speakers are better than the one in the Code. You can get a Katana, you can get a Roland Cube, and a Roland Cube absolutely wipes the floor with the Code. Now, 6.5 minutes in to see that it's not a fair review means you were probably not giving my review a fair chance. Then we have Nicole Costa. You're never satisfied with any products you review. It's always negative. Okay, so this is a bit unfair because Nicole, at the time of writing this, couldn't have seen my review of the OD1R by Nobles because that's not out yet. But that's just one review on the way that's extremely positive. The Spark amp, I like that. Tube 5, Tube 15, Roland Cubes. The, what's it called? The Yamaha Pacifica, I liked the Candy Apple Red Squire Classic vibe that I have there. I like the Mosky D250X, which actually I could use with the, instead of the YJM Fury. I've liked so many things that I don't remember. But Nicole has just watched this and maybe a couple of other videos. Actually, I think Nicole's watched, I remember Nicole's name from the Yamaha THR videos. Okay, so then we have Whoosh Raha Kal. Let's do this one in a Finnish accent because I'm Finnish. The Marshall Code series is great if you know how to use it. Obviously you don't. For example, cab simulation is only for headphones or USB recording, but needs to be turned off when connected to a real cab. So do your homework and then review it again. To all visitors, there are great and good reviews on the Code series on YouTube. But find them and forget about this one. So I said, way ahead of you, so instead of slagging me off, why not watch the second review or just bugger off? FYI, I tried it without the cab sim, it didn't help. And he responds, Elmo Karjalainen, thanks for letting me know, but watching was just a waste of precious lifetime. All you proved is that you can't handle this amp. So, first you say, do a second review, and then when I do a second review, you say, I'm not watching it. You were doing what I said you should do. Oh no, because I might be proved wrong. A few people suggested I turn off the cab sim. I did, and it sounded a different kind of terrible. And FYI, Johan Segerborn used the cab sim, and a lot of people reference him as knowing what he's doing. So I did do my homework. Okay, so I have someone called Phonics who said, cranks the channel volume to 11 and is surprised when it comes across too muddy. Do you know how to tweak and design sound? Or are you expecting to have perfect sound immediately regardless of pushing the volume to infinity? SMH, I've seen a lot of bad reviews, and it's all the same thing. People know nothing about sound design. Well, and I won't go through all the responses we did back and forth because it's tedious stuff. But I've been playing guitar since I was 11, which is quite some time now, and I've had all sorts of amps, and I've had valve amps, and I've had hybrid amps, and I've had solid state amps, and I've had modeling amps, and I've got all kinds of stuff. And sorry, Mr. Phonics or Mrs. Phonics or whatever you are, you might identify as a lamppost, what do I know? And that's fine. I'll be honest, I think the Marshall Code is the worst amp I've ever tried, or might be. There might be something that I'm not quite remembering now, but I think it was absolutely horrible, and that has nothing to do with my abilities in designing sound or lack thereof. It was horrible. Now, to be fair, some people say that you should crank the volume even on modeling amps so that it simulates what's going on in a cranked valve amp, and I had the master down, but the channel volume cranked, and that's why, because I was trying to get that kind of cranked valve amp sound. It obviously didn't work. Now, I've never had an amp where you push the volume and it starts sounding muddy. I've never had that issue with any amp where the volume would make the amp sound muddy. I have had that with distortion pedals where you crank the distortion or overdrive and it starts sounding muddy, and that's why they sometimes have a bass cut. So yeah, fuck off. Then we have Michael Garcia saying, turn the cab sim off, you fool. I did. It was a different kind of terrible. Then we have two different ones. We have some guy called Eero Jääskeläinen who says, paska video oli, which means this was a shit video. Well, thank you, Eero, for your very informative comments. I'll be sure to take on board all that constructive criticism and do better in the future, cunt. Then we have Mimi who says, this person is not a great guitarist and is not good at evaluating an amp, playing the sound bites he is playing. This is a good amp and you have to learn it, which takes time, something this cat is not willing to expend. Lousy review, period. Yeah, well, again, I did 3 videos on this amp. What the fuck do you guys want? It's a shit amp. Get over it. And even if it's not a shit amp, even if it works for you, great. But why are you so offended that I don't like it? Then we have Alison Cosé. Talk less! No, I will talk more, just to annoy you. Deal with it. Then we have Robert M. Fuzzy and unclear. Maybe his guitar is junk too. Maybe it is. But then again, the guitar cost a fair bit more than the sodding amp. Then we have Ruckspin 1981.
What a pathetic, snobbish generation we live in. Some people are just gonna hate anything cheap. We don't all have the ability to own or play a Plexi or JCM 800. I've owned better amps for sure, but for 200 quid, it's phenomenal. It's the dog's bollocks.
Actually, it's not the dog's bollocks, it's just bollocks. Utter bollocks. The creme de la bollocks. That's what the Marshall code is. Don't know if that's funny. It's shit or the shit. There's a huge difference there. But the Marshall code is not the shit, it's shit. Even for £200, I think it is shit. Get over it. And I've just given you a bunch of alternatives. Tube 5, Tube 15. You could get a second-hand Cube. You could get the Spark amp, which is much better than this. You could get the Katana. I don't like the Katana too much, but it's certainly better than this. Jesse Tate.
What do you expect of a 299.99 amp? It's no JCM 800.
Well, it isn't. Certainly is not. You're right about that. Sorry, I've been wrong all along. I thought it was a JCM 800. I've been reviewing the wrong piece of gear. I did 3 videos on it, and I didn't realize it's not the JCM 800. Oh, now I have to start all over again. It's 300 bucks! What do you want? I want value for money. Even if it's 300 bucks, I want something. Actually, I would not play that amp even if someone paid me.
Pierrick Charlebois. Imagine doing amp reviews and not understanding that a modeling amp has a transparent speaker, so the modeling isn't affected by the speaker, and then suggesting to change the speaker to make it better, which would throw off the whole amp completely. Maybe some would like it, but it would still be off completely or completely off.
Transparent speaker, yes, it was transparent, that's why I didn't see it. Yeah, what you're talking about is the kind of speaker that you use with an Axe FX or a Kemper or something like that. Yeah, those are kind of flat, so the frequency range is flat and the frequency response is flat. I think they're called FRFR. I'm not sure, might be wrong. I'm pretty sure this one was not. And now the people commenting on this are contradicting each other so much that not even they know what they're talking about, trying to defend the code. All I did was, here's the code. This is what it sounds like. And it sounds like shit. I was hazarding a guess that it might be the speaker. And I said if it was not a toy, if it was a proper amp, I could connect it to a 4x12 cab and see what that does. Would it improve the sound? Now, Pierrick Charlebois was not satisfied. Wilhelm Grassman. Lol, dude, what do you expect from an amp in this range? LOL. Again. Much more! I was expecting not to feel a kind of physical pain in my ear when listening to it. Sideshow Blob. Pretty much every other review of this amp says it's quite good, so I don't see why you wouldn't like it. I've been wrong. Everyone else liked it. That means I've been wrong. Again, Sideshow blog, you're free to like it if that's what you do. Norbert Itterman. He's been a regular feature on some of in the comments. I get all the sounds that I want! Good for you! I don't want to hear you playing guitar if all the sounds that you want are from the code, because even if you're a brilliant player, your sound is gonna suck and blow at the same time. That's pretty much everything I have for you today. Mr. Receding hairline bearded ponytail dude, twinkle twinkle and previews man bun ponytail small dick in the brain is now going to leave you. I hope you liked the video. If you've watched this far, you've probably subscribed already, but if you haven't, please do. Please join me on Patreon. You get all of my music, and you can even take it for free, even if your name is Norbert Itterman, or even if you're one of the people who's been hating my martial code videos. Yeah, that's about it. I've started gathering material for a third one of these videos because I think these are fun. And I noticed whilst doing this that I actually thought the first one was a bit more fun because that was comments to different videos, so they were slightly different. The code was interesting because they started contradicting each other, the comments. But anyway, that was all I have for you today. I hope to see you in another one. Take care. Goodbye.